How's it going, folks? Just doing a little bit of maintenance on the aquaponics, namely dosing up some potassium. So I thought I'd bring you along and give you a bit of a look at why I'm doing it and how I'm doing it as well. So to begin with, I just thought I'd show you what I'm doing. I've already put the date down there, sulphur of potash 2nd of August. I did iron yesterday. I think I previously did the potassium on the 17th. So I've just seen a few deficiencies, so I thought I'd give it another whack. I'm using sulphate of potash, and it's roughly 7.5 grams per 1,000 litres. So because I've got 1.6 thousand litres, I'm doing a 12 gram dose. Now, the way I do it is down here on my little chemical. Oh yeah, we've been tidying up around the place, and I've got somewhere to put all my bits and pieces now. Just weighing out the 12 grams. So just putting it in my little scoop here. So that's 7.2. I don't mind if I go a little bit over, because I don't think it's going to hurt the fish at all or damage the plants. So I'll see how close we can get. Oh, 13.5, yeah. There we go, 12.5, we'll live with that, hey? So 12.5 grams there. And then we find the right lid, Robert. Not that one there. Just here I've got other bits and pieces. Some, what's this one? Molybdenum, some manganese, just some bits and pieces for knocking the grubs on the head, potassium silicate, azomite from an old garden buy, some magnesium, Epsom salts, or magnesium, and some calcium hydroxide and some potassium bicarbonate and other sprayers and vinegars and bits and pieces. So you don't need all these things to run an aquaponic system. They're just bits and pieces I've picked up along the way. And yeah, now I suppose we shall go and mix this up and add it to the system. So all I do is take a clean jar, fill it up with some water from the system itself. This is just coming out of the moving bed bioreactor here. And then dump this in and give it a good stir, if I can find the swizzle stick. We'll improvise and use some scissors, hey? So just trying to get as much of that dissolved in there as possible. There are a couple of lumpy, chunky bits. That should be all good. And then what I try and do is, between the 3 beds, 2 of them are the same size. That's this one here and the one on the far side, and this netted bed is about double the size. So I try to give roughly, a quarter of this amount to each bed, just by putting it in where the water goes in. So try and judge this. There we go. I'll try and get you in shot next time. Here we go. About that much. And the rest of it under here with the broccoli. And while I'm under there, I'll explain why I think I need some more potassium. So just going to deliver it down here at the inlet there, and hopefully be able to tip all of it in. So the reason why I think I am a little bit down on the potassium is we've had fairly poor formation of the heads. They're not the largest heads we've had, and some of them are starting to divide a little bit early. This one over here, whoops, sorry, the leaf. I can actually give this one to Jack. Jack loves chewing on these. Jack, do you want the leaf or not? You do want the leaf? Go eat the leaf. So back to the broccoli. We're not getting the largest heads form on them, and they are starting to split or divide before they start to put on a lot of size. And one of the telltale signs I saw was some of the necrotic spotting we started to get on some of the leaves. So I just thought I'd better explain how you can tell a potassium deficiency. Generally what happens is you get a yellowing on the edge of the leaf, and then it moves inwards towards the center, and you end up with these little dead spots, and then necrotic spotting or dead spots further on in the leaves. The deficiency looks very similar to magnesium deficiency, which is also a mobile element, but you generally have a lot more interveinal chlorosis, which is the yellowing in between the veins themselves, then it's starting from the edge and moving in. Now, they are both mobile elements, which means it tends to happen on the older leaves. And just quickly, they actually have a bit of an interplay together as well, magnesium and potassium. If you add too much potassium into the system, you can find it will lock out magnesium, and there's a little picture there of Mulder's chart, which just shows the interplay between the different elements and as pertains to plants and them assimilating them. So normally I feed the system with potassium using potassium bicarbonate, but as the fish aren't feeding a lot at the moment, their pH isn't dropping, so I haven't been adding it in. So that's why I'm using the sulfate of potash or sulfate of potassium to bring the potassium levels back up. There are other products I could use. I could also use potassium silicate, but again, that raises the pH. I have no need for it, even though the silicate is good for cell wall growth. And I could also be using the seaweed powder, the soluble powder I use, or sea salt, but unfortunately I've run out of both at the moment. So that's why, yeah, we've run into this little bit of an issue. And I remembered I had the sulfate of potash that I could add in. So that's where we are at this point in time with the deficiency. And looking at the newer growth on some of these other plants, I am pretty happy that it has been arrested to a degree, but I will be adding it in and topping it up for a little while longer, just to make sure there's ample in the system, not only for these plants, but the others as well. And I've just noticed now, I haven't been very observant, but we're also starting to see what looks like aphids in there as well. So I might have to come back here with the Pure Crop one and give this a bit of a little bit of a spray. But what I'm thinking about doing, oh, there's a nice head there, it's been hiding from me. What I'm thinking about doing is just coming back and knocking off these larger heads now. I'll give you a bit of a look at the harvest at the end of the video, and then thinning out a couple of these plants, maybe some of these older ones that had a little bit too much damage on them, and then give these small ones underneath a little bit of a chance to yeah, put on some size. We'll see how we go. There's actually 3 or 4 plants in that little area there, so we might just cull one out. But anyway, I won't show you that today, but I will show you the harvest of the broccoli at the end. Just quickly before we nip around the other side, I just wanted to let you folks on YouTube know that I have a very long video looking at Owen's system over on the north side of Brisbane. It's a very impressive aquaculture based system that he's adapted to grow plants, so basically aquaponics, using a few different techniques a lot of people haven't seen before. So that video is going to be live next weekend, next Sunday. It'll probably go live around about 10:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, and there'll be other times down the bottom there if you want to check it out. Definitely come along if you want to look at a very impressive aquaculture / aquaponics system. And just a quick reminder too as well, I do have that Backyard Aquaponics Beginner's Guide. It's an online guide for you folks who need a bit of a helping hand just starting out at aquaponics. There's also an option for you to ask me for advice over there. It's all explained on the page that is linked to up the top there and down in the description. So check it out if you want a bit of a helping hand starting out with aquaponics. That's enough of me spruiking. So, thought I'd give you a bit of a look at a few other bits and pieces. I've transplanted a couple of bits from down the back in here. We've got some Chinese red amaranth that just went in there. It's from a old veggie pod. Oh, the chili, she's still going as well. And over here in this bed, I've had a few issues with aphids that I'll talk about in a minute. And I also replaced some of the bok choy we've taken out with some semi-advanced seedlings and another red Chinese amaranth. And yeah, we've got 2 bok choy left, I think. Yeah, there's only the 2 bok choy left there. Nice decent size. We're having another one tonight. Oh, I took off, I'll tell you what we've been harvesting. A couple of green onions. One's gone from there and one's gone round from the other side. A number of bok choy have come off recently, and a nice decent head of broccoli, as well as the ones that, yeah, you're going to see at the end of this video. So pretty happy with what's coming out of the system for the time being. Oh, the aphid issues. We've got the aphids back on the chives. So I got very heavy handed with them the other day and cut them right back, and then sprayed it with the Pure Crop 1. And a lot of the aphids jumped ship before I could spray them. And you might be able to make out that there are a fair number that have crawled back on here. Just trying to block the sunlight here so I can give you a decent look. But there are little aphids all around in here. Number of them, yeah, you might be able to see that one there moving. So the Pure Crop 1, I think, knocked off the ones that were already on there, but a lot of them just fell off as I was cutting it into the media itself. So I can give that another spray now, actually, while we're here. I've mixed up 5 mils of the Pure Crop 1 in half a litre or 500 mils of this spray jug, and I've just kept it in the shade, where, you know, it's winter here as well, so it's not exactly very hot and won't make it go off. But just so I can use it over the next couple of days. And all I'm doing, if the camera will spin around with me, is giving it a liberal spray, and that is pretty much all it. And then over the next couple of days, Jack and I, won't we, Jack? Hello, Jack. We'll come down here and give it a spray. So I think I've got in all those little nooks and crannies there, but I'll leave it there for now. I'll come back and have a look later. So that's one thing I am having to do. Just quickly before I go, we'll feed the fish. The fish have had it very easy because someone played around with the timer the other day and left it on. So the water temperature's come up to around about 21 degrees today. So yeah, definitely warm enough for them to consume some pellets. They're not really hitting it, as hard as they normally do through summer, as you can tell. But they are having a decent feed. I'll just give you a bit of an idea of the size of some of them. Come on fellas, come up. There's definitely a number of them in there that are ready to munch on. So we should probably really get to doing that very soon. Filter wise and all that, I did do it the other day. I gave that a bit of a clean out, and I think I may have shown it in a recent video. But generally speaking, they're not getting enough feed to have to clean out the filter all the time, to the point that I actually noticed down in here we have a chive that has sprouted in the biofilter because a seed has fallen from above from one of the flower heads. So yeah, probably in a month or so's time, when things start to warm up, I'll definitely give the it's not a bio, sorry, it's like a fines filter with a lot of shea cloth in there that acts semi as a biofilter and also as a fines filter. That needs a bit of a clean out, and I might look at actually cleaning out the bottom sludge from the moving bed bioreactor as well. I mean, it doesn't collect a lot of muck down there, but there is a little bit that ends up settling down the bottom of these little jobbies. So there we go folks, there's the 3 heads I've taken off, and their variety was Green Dragon, I'm fairly sure, and you can tell it was very lumpy and bumpy, not really a uniform head development, so I'm thinking that has got something to do with the lack of potassium in the system, mainly because I wasn't really keeping on top of it. The pH wasn't falling because it's winter, and these little fellas who have polished off all their food, they weren't really, oh he wants a little bit more, they weren't really eating enough to add what little there is in their waste to the system. Plus, because they're not crashing the pH with adding a lot of ammonia to the system, I wasn't having to top up with the potassium bicarbonate. Yeah, it's just me dropping the ball more than anything, but yeah, these guys will still taste nice. We might give the big one to my mum and my sister's family, and they can chew down on that one. And these two here, Bianca and I, might add one in with our bok choy and steak tonight for dinner. I hope that potassium information has helped a few of you folks out. Just a quick reminder, if you haven't subscribed already, do so you'll get a notification when Owen's system video comes online. You won't regret it. It's an awesome looking system, and like I said, around about 6:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time this coming Sunday, and the other dates will be down in the description or on the screen here somewhere. Anyway, I'll stop rabbiting on. I do hope you're all well and happy and your aquaponics systems and your gardens are booming, and I'll drop my glasses and I'll catch you next video. Cheers folks, and happy growing. So there we go folks, there's a quick look at the broccoli, and I saved a couple of leaves for Jax. There you go, munch away boy.